Hello and welcome to the Social Canvas. My name is Carol and today I'm going to show you how to paint some grapes. Don't we all love grapes? I'm going to draw in the outline first of everything before I put the colours in, but today I'm going to be using some pale violet. This is all Winsor & Newton. Pale violet, permanent magenta, some titanium white, some Winsor blue and some Paynes grey. But you know what? You can make your grapes whatever colour you like. Maybe you will like green grapes rather than red grapes. These are kind of a purpley red, I guess you could say. Okay, so I'm just going to, as I said, sketch in first roughly my vine. I say vine, but you know. So I'm just going to bring a line down there like that. So of course the end of the stem is a little bit wider, and then I'm going to have some bits coming off here like that, just so I'm not going to do too much of the leaves there. They're kind of like pointy leaves like that, so I'm just going to do a bit of that leaf there, and then before I do too much of the leaves I'm going to do some of the round circles in the foreground or in the front of that, and you can overlap some of these grapes. Obviously try and keep them as round as possible, roughly the same shapes. That one's under there, that one's over the top. Don't worry if your shapes become a little irregular, you can always fix those with some paint anyway, but if you're that worried you could always use something round to guide you, but I don't think that's necessary. I'm sure you can draw a round circle. Mine aren't going to be perfect, but that's all right. That one's behind that one. Oops. One's behind that one. Not to make them too symmetrical. Okay, so I'm just going to put the line in the middle of my vine leaf there, and I think I'll have another one. Actually, this one I'm going to have it like it's coming out from the side a little bit, and it's on its side like that rather than flat. There we go. Alright, we'll just put a couple of small ones coming out the end like so. And you know, we're going to give this some curly bits coming off there, and maybe another vine leaf coming out from the bottom of here too. Why not? Alright, it's quite simple. Okay, so I'm going to use a small brush, whatever you've got that will work around small areas. Actually, I'm going to use this very small one. This is a angle shader from Graduate Dowler and Rowney. I use different brushes, but I'm going to try that one out. Why not? I'm going to grab some white to begin with to make quite a pale pink. So I'm going to grab some of that permanent magenta in there. I'm going to build up the colours. So quite a pale pink going on. And I'm going to leave some of my edge white. It's just easier then to go over it, but for the most part I'm going to fill those in like that. It doesn't matter if you pick up some lighter tone going in there, because I'm going to layer up some of these colours anyway. So no worries there. So if you miss a bit out, it doesn't matter, as I said. Did I mention this was a quick painting? Maybe not, but it is. It's quite a quick and easy painting, but it's fun. I like doing fruit. One of my favourites, really. I'm going to do a still life. Right, so got one behind there, haven't I? So with the ones behind there, I'm going to make it a little bit darker by putting a little bit more of that pink, a little bit darker pink in the background there. Good thing about the angled shader is you've got the little angled point there that you can turn around and get in all sorts of corners. And then I'm going to start adding a few accents darker in certain places in my grapes. So I'm taking the this way you can leave some edges, as I said, free of I'm using acrylic, as you may have guessed, so you need a pot of water, of course, if you're joining me. You know, and don't be too fussy about the lines either, because, you know, a little bit of impressionism is good. If you don't like your pencil marks, you can go over the edges if you like. I don't mind them showing through, actually. I think it's okay to do that. So what I'm going to do next is just going to grab some blue with a little bit of red. So a little bit of blue and red, which will come out sort of a purpley tone, but depends on how much you put, of course, when you mix together. But I'm looking for a darker tone here, so this is going to look a little bit blue, but I'm just going to bring a little bit of that blue edge on some of these. Like that. Some water. I know I'm going over a lot of my pink, but I'm going to leave some of it showing through. A little bit of white to that to soften it just a little bit in places. I like to put different tones on, so I've just softened that up a little bit, as you can see. So I've got more of lots of different colours going on in there. vary where you do your colour. Don't try and do them all the same, of course. This is meant to be more of an abstract look at a grape rather than a perfect representation. Background there, I'm just going to put a little bit darker on that. Experimentation is great. I think you should just, you know, try out different tones and colours and see what works for you. Sometimes you just come up with something yourself and it's like, oh, actually that really looks good. Sometimes if you think about it too much, it goes wrong. Not that it's, art of course is very subjective, so. Okay, kind of like that. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get behind so I'm going to get a little bit of black, or Paynes grey, which is almost black, it's not quite black, with a bit of blue, because I want it to be blue but not, I should say black but not totally dark. I'm going to go in between my grapes with that darker tone. If you find it tricky with a paintbrush like this, just get a smaller one in. So I'm just going to probably put a little bit more darkness than I wanted on that. Hopefully you're nice and relaxed while you're painting along or watching. Don't have any music on, but I can sing, but I won't. What I'm doing here is I'm just filling in the dark area behind the grapes, just to, well, you won't be able to see, of course, the dark area necessarily like this, but you'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it will look good in the end. I need a smaller brush at this point, so I might just grab a smaller one. This angle brush is great, but sometimes it just takes a while to get in between those little cracks. I shall persevere a bit longer and then see how it goes. A little bit more moisture on that brush to get it to do what I want it to do. Let's see. Also great to do this in watercolour, if you like watercolour. Okay, for my, I'm going to stick with this kind of brush, and also a kind of Paynes grey colour, which is like a dark bluey black, and just do the outlines of my leaves. Like so. Make it too, again, just the steady hand is required for some of these bits. Okay. Right. Gonna do the underside of this in that colour. I'm just leaning on my brush a little bit, on my canvas a little bit. This is canvas paper that I'm using, and I'll just make that a little bit darker up there. So what I'm going to do now is grab a smaller brush, detail brush, to try and go around some of my grapes a little bit more of that that Paynes grey, but you can use like a dark blue, which is a little bit of blue and black, and try and get a point on here. So even though I painted them, drew them in, I want to define them a little bit more, not necessarily too much, just enough that I can. So I probably won't go around them all, just some of the edges maybe. Very soft in places. That's where, if you haven't got a perfect round, you can sort of make it a bit more perfect. Oops. And roll my brush. Okay. I am not going to paint the background, but I suggest if you do, just look at the colours, or look at some of the paintings that are with grapes, and decide, because you know there's so many different things you can do with the background, and you don't want to ruin the painting by having a background that you don't like very much, as in you've made the wrong choice of colour. I always start with a light pale, like a pastel colour, and then, you know, if I don't like it, I kind of then get dark from there. It's a good idea to start with a lighter colour, and then you can build on it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush off and grab some white. And I'm going to put some more of the white accent here and there on my grapes. So you can just splodge a bit in. That will sort of give it a bit more of a shine where the some more than others. All right. Now grab some green for my leaves. So you can either use green and yellow, depends on what kind of blue you want to achieve, but I'm going to try and use a blue and yellow. So I've got Winsor blue and cadmium yellow, I think. And I'm going to do a two-tone leaf probably. So I'm going to do it all one colour, and then I'm going to decide if I want to darken it. Doesn't matter if you go over your lines at this point. That's okay. Yes, I'm using a small detail brush for this. Okay, so that's one. This one's on its side, so it's leaning, facing that way. Can't see it opened up. I didn't do any lines on that one, I just realised. But I can add them in at any point. But I might just grab a little bit more blue, make it a slightly darker green in places before I do too much. So just a little bit of blue and yellow again to make it a darker green, just add more of that colour. And I'm going to come, oops, it's a little bit too dark, let me get a bit more yellow in there. Right under where the grapes are, just going to make it a darker green. So it's kind of like the shadow falling on it, if you like. I'm just going to pull some of that colour down, like very softly like that. And then I'm going to do a similar thing on this one here. I'm just going to bring some of that out from the bottom and just skip it across like that. That's why I said it's good to start with a light colour and then you can play with it as you wish. And I'm going to get a little bit darker up this area here, similar thing. A little bit darker around the grapes. Put a bit of that colour in there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to do the stem. Stem is kind of like a woody reddish reddish brown, I guess. So if you've got any red, actually more white, I'm going to grab some white and a little bit of yellow first and a tiny bit of red. So I'm going to wash my brush off for that. You can use a brown too, or a burnt sienna, or a yellow ochre. Any of those colours will work actually. But I'm just going to make one up here and see how it goes. And then I can build it up. So I've got a white, yellow and a bit of brown going on in here. You can see it's coming up kind of a dark beige if you like. but I'm going to fix that in a minute because I want to put some accents on. So I'm going to put a little bit of, oops, not too much, a little reddish tone in there, coming in from there, like that. And then my little swirly bits, I'm going to do green too. Actually, before I do that, I do want to do that line too. So let me just grab that colour back in there. That was too dark, so I'm just going to go over that. And you can fix any bits along here. That's coming up to there. Like that. And then my swirly bits are sort of green as well. I'm going to make them a lighter green. So grab some white in with my green. See how that goes. Start from the outer edge, because it's easier for me to bring it in. A little bit darker. Can't do it from the left hand, from the right hand side, because I'm obviously right-handed, so I'll have to start from there on that one. It's challenging getting a thin line, but you just have to take your time. Or use the right brush. Could probably do with a thinner brush. Right. Finally, I'm just going to tidy up some of these bits here. Okay. And I think I might add a touch more. I might just put a little dash of red in here as well, but just a little bit in places, because you know what? Why not? Yes, that really brightens the painting up too, so just a touch. That's why I said it's good to experiment. That's nice. I like that. It's okay to do that. My crazy multicolored grapes. All right, stand back and have a look. I kind of like that. That's all right. I'm just going to go over my thick line here a little bit again. I kind of made a peach color there. Look, see what I did? That's why I said I love using lots of different colors. So if you pick one up by mistake, try it on there and you're like, oh, that's quite nice. I recommend it, because as you can see, it's just given another dimension again. Lots of different little colours going on in my grapes here. And I like that peach colour. That's good. All right. I'm liking it. I think the only thing I want to do is just fix my little stem there a little bit, and I think by that I'm going to add some white just along a little bit of this, just where it's highlighted, and maybe a little bit along that side, along the top I should say. And white of course thins anything out. If you've got a thick heavy line going and you don't like it, then you know it definitely helps to thin it out. And I think also I'm going to put a little bit of accent back into my leaves. So you can do that with any colour really. I mean, I've just taken a little bit of tiny bit of green in there, and as you can see, I've just added that in parts as well. Yeah, I do encourage you to play with your colours, play with your art. And there's my grape painting. I hope you enjoyed it. This is just for fun, but if you want to put your name on it and you want to put any colour in the background, then do that. But I hope you enjoyed that as I did, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.